It is now that time of the week when we look forward to the Bercich Breakdown, and the man to break it all down, of course, is Peter Bercich of the Vikings Audio Network. And number one, everybody out at the facility when we were there asking the players, is this a must win? Is this a must win? And they said, no, we got time. But in your mind, if this is not a must win, what is this game against the Green Bay Packers this Sunday on Fox 9?
Yeah, it's a must-win, Jim. I mean, we got to win this one if you want to still have any hope. I think of, I think with the 4-6, you're somewhere around 13% or so on average to make the playoffs. The Packers, 5 of their last 7 games are going to be against divisional opponents, so that's going to be interesting for them. The only games that are not, they play Baltimore, and then they have one other one that's not going to be an easy win for them. So they're going to have 7 tough games in a row. And so we'll find out if they're going to be able to continue it. Same thing kind of with the Bears. They have a tough schedule coming up as well. So, you're not really in control of your own destiny. You're counting on some other teams to stub their toe, but the margin for error is very, very small. Right. Very, very small going forward.
But if they do win this one, that kind of gains some traction for them in the division. The Bears, they ended up splitting. If they could have got last week's, it would have been huge because they would have had the tiebreaker against them. They have half the tiebreaker against Detroit right now. So they're sitting in a pretty decent spot there. They jump on this one, and all of a sudden you're kind of, even though you're behind, you're getting within an arm's length of your division opponents.
Yeah, you are. And, it's possible 3 teams from one division can go to the playoffs. It's happened before. It starts with this game. I mean, this game is that important. It's doubly important, again, because it's the divisional game. But with not much room left to go, you got a road game in Seattle coming up. Then you play the Packers and the Packers and the Lions one more time. You got to go to New York, which, that game looks like a winnable one, even though it's still a good football team out there. So none of them are going to be easy going out. And that's what I mean when you say, how much wiggle room do you have? Well, right. Not a whole lot. So it starts with everybody getting healthy. And then the next biggest thing is our quarterback and making sure he continues to improve.
Okay, I got to ask, who's this right back here?
Ooh, that's Odie.
How is Odie doing?
I don't know. He looks to me like he's doing all right.
Do you think he's interested?
Look at him. He's just sitting there. He's waiting for me he's waiting for me to see how he's doing. You okay, Poppy? Are you? You a good boy? Yeah, you're a good boy, aren't you? Yes, you are. You're a good Poppy. He's like, why are you always talking into that stupid computer?
He's excited. He wants to hear the Bercich Breakdown, is what he wants to know, so he can go tell the other dogs at the park some inside information is what he wants.
Yeah, maybe.
Or if you want more insight, you can always check out Pete's own YouTube channel, Eye in the Sky, Vikings Packers Preview. You look very happy to be holding that Green Bay helmet in your hand there.
Yeah, it's going to be different. I mean, Jim, the Packer game is the biggest game of the year, in my opinion. If there's one place that you want to win, if you could pick one game a year to win, in my opinion, it would be in Lambeau Field. I remember going there in '98 when the Packers had a 25-game winning streak, and we go in there and win. I believe it was 34-17, somewhere in there, and then. In the 2004 season, it was actually January 2005 when I was coaching, we had a wild card game in Green Bay. We were heavy underdogs and came away with a victory there. I mean, those are probably the most memorable wins, or some of the most memorable wins I had as a player and a coach. And then, last year going into Lambeau Field and having success, it's a great thing. It's a great place to play. It's a wonderful stadium. It's as NFL as it gets. And it means something when you can go in there and win a football game.
That is 1,000% correct. I can confidently speak for every Viking fan out there. This is the one you want because they have now infiltrated the border. right? There's so many that have moved here and then parade around, and it's great. That Monday is so silent at workplaces across the state. It's very enjoyable.
I mean, it's well known my disdain for the Packers. Growing up in Chicago, playing in Minnesota, it's what you have in common, right? And it's not like people are always, they'll say something about, not liking the Packer fans and all that. It's like, no, the ones in Wisconsin are fine. It's the ones that, grow up in Wisconsin. They eventually go to college, and then they have to get a real job. So where do they go? They go to Minneapolis, and then they bring all their flags and their stock certificates and all that other stuff and hang out at the water cooler and talk about how smart they are, because they, for some reason, think they make decisions in the Packer organization. Just, the whole thing it's annoying. And it would be nice to be able to shut them up, if and only for a single week.
All right. So for that to happen, we've now had a few days to cool off, back off on J.J. McCarthy and the upset of the fan base about his performance. Where does J.J. go? How does that last Sunday look to you now after you had a couple more days to look at some film and digest what he did?
Well, I mean, it's the opportunities are there. The right plays are being called at the right time. The guys just have to execute. That's the one thing to keep in mind, right? Is the design, the plan, the calling of the plays, all of that is there. You can judge that by how many receivers that were open that were either missed or there were drops or whatever. So it's a matter of execution in that regard. Now with McCarthy, thinking about it, I started digging into some of the numbers, and I realized that he has been much better on the road than he has been at home. In fact, he's 2-0 on the road, right?
Yeah.
You take a look at his passer. You take a look at his passer rating. He averages a 46.6 at home with a passer rating. On the road, he's at 90.6. That's a 44-point swing. It's amazing. Touchdowns. 2 games on the road, 4 touchdowns. At home, 3 games. He's only thrown 2. And then it's the interceptions, which are a problem. He's thrown 2 interceptions in 2 games on the road, and he's thrown 6 in 3 home games. So the kid's just playing better on the road. I don't know why. I don't want to dig into it. I don't care. All I know is that we're going on the road to Green Bay, and if he continues to form, I think we might just get a pretty good game out of the young man, and we need one. That's for sure.
Yeah. You look at the Vikings running game, too. Fans were asking for it. You were asking for it. Let's see more of it. They did more of it last week, and it seemed to be very productive, averaging 5 yards per carry. How important is that going to be going into Lambeau? Obviously, the weather looks like it's going to be nice. It's going to be 50s, could even be, sunny out, so it shouldn't be a huge factor. But even so, playing outside and having a running game where the Vikings can finally burn a little clock instead of like last week. What did you say? It was 23 minutes for the Bears and 15 for the Vikings, something like that.
It was about a 14-minute swing in between. So time of possession is important. Keep an eye on Jonathan Grenard, see if he's going to play. That's big for the Vikings defense. The other thing is Josh Jacobs, and I don't know if there's anything official about him, but Josh Jacobs accounts for 39.3% of this Packers offense. Okay. And the discrepancy in Jordan Love's performance when Josh Jacobs is in there. I have some numbers here that are just absurd. With Jacobs in the backfield, Love has 10 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. When he's not, he only has 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So pass protection is very, very important with him as well. So he's a big, big part of this Green Bay offense. And so not having him, it's going to be interesting to see if they don't have him, what they do. The other side of the coin, though, is this defense. I mean, they're 6th overall. They're a very, very good group. Micah Parsons playing very well. They play a lot more 4-man front now because of him. They really don't play that 5-man 3-4 like they used to quite a bit. So they've evolved. They've changed. That means people like McDuffie, are on the field a lot more because of that. So they have a lot more linebackers out there. And, underneath coverage, there's some opportunities there, play action passing, deep over routes, some of the things that we've seen work before. So we know what we're getting in this team. You know what you have a good idea what you're going to get schematically. It's just, think about this one. Another nugget.
Okay.
That the Packers are 29-9 from week 12 onward under Matt LaFleur. That's the best in the NFC. So this is the time of the year that they usually get going, and hopefully this year that streak or that turnaround won't happen until week 13. So McCarthy on the road, that's good. Questionable Josh Jacobs, we'll see what's happening with him. That's important. That can go our way. So, we got to hold on to something right now, and I'm going to hold on to those things.
All right. You didn't really address the running game. What have you seen? Why has it become effective? Is it as simple as the offensive line finally getting more pieces back? It sounds like Ryan Kelly may be able to go as well. Is that what's opening up that running game, or was it more of a commitment to it and just the repetitiveness of doing it over and over builds confidence in the running game?
I think we found some things out. When Jordan Mason scored his touchdown, that was at a low point kind of for McCarthy and his passer rating. He was hovering. He was somewhere around 16, right? And I think at that point, Kevin O'Connell's like, you know what, we're just going to run the football, and we wore down the Bears defense a little bit, and then Jordan Mason gets in, runs through some arm tackles, and ends up scoring a touchdown. So, if anything, I think that showed that the running game, if we can get both Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason going, right? You got speed and mobility on one side and kind of some power on the other, that could work. And it just makes sense with what's going on with our ability to convert on third down. We're at or near the bottom in third down conversions, and then the best way to get better at those is to shorten them, right? Make them 3rd and 1s and 2s instead of 7s, 8s, and 9s. And that goes for penalties. It goes for all those things. So it just, with what's ailing this team offensively, having a good running game, it just makes sense. So I would expect them to be pretty dedicated to it this week. And, the Packers have a pretty good defensive front. So, Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah McDuffie, Micah Parsons. I mean, they've got some good guys up front. So if you can maybe just get that going a little bit, get them to dedicate some extra guys into the box, we can open up some play action and some things in the passing game and maybe get explosive that way.
All right. Eye in the Sky. Pete Bercich, that's what you look for on YouTube. His video will follow this one as well, so you can get to it that way. But if you want to jump ahead, you can go there now. That's fine. We got the click. Vikings-Packers film preview. What else do you dive into besides JJ's road success?
Christian Watson is kind of back.
That catch last week was crazy.
Well, he had one drop in that game. It was amazing the number of drops across the league. I watched our game against the Bears, Detroit and Philly, and then this one, and there must have been 30 some drops between, Carrington Valentine had 2 hit him in the hands. The safeties each had a shot at. I mean, it was just amazing. Not just that, but Dobbs and just both sides struggling. I know it was windy out on the East Coast, but yeah, just amazing. And that's it. But Christian Watson, we've kind of haven't seen a ton of him because of injury and some other things. It's just like the timing of it seems whenever we play him, at least there. This time he's back, and that relationship with he and Jordan Love, he's definitely a deep threat, and you got to watch out for him. And then again, that running game with Josh Jacobs. If he's not playing, you have Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks. That'll be good for us, obviously if Jacobs isn't in there. But Romeo Dobbs still good. And that offensive line is a good group as well. They're playing pretty well together. They had a tough job controlling that 4-man front of the New York Giants, and they did a pretty good job. They sneak in some some twists to, let's just call it, to the running game to help them out. So schematically, they're always throwing something a little bit different at you, pulling a guard and reversing the other way, doing things like that, giving you certain motions to pull people out of the box to run the football. So it's not gimmicky per se. It's just they're doing some smart things to try to make it easier to run the football. And then with Jordan Love, he's much better on the move than he used to be. You'd want to get him off his spot and get him to scramble and have him do that. He's improved. That's probably the biggest improvement I've seen out of Jordan Love, is just his ability to extend plays, keep his eyes down the field, and by scrambling, opening up the passing game, just like Aaron Rodgers did and Favre did before him. But he did a much better job of that against New York Giants. So dare I say, we have to plaster, just like he did against Caleb Williams. I mean, Caleb Williams is very, very tough to bring down. But Jordan Love's doing some of that as well. So we'll see.
All right. So check out Pete's YouTube channel, Eye in the Sky. You can also check him out Sunday morning on Fox 9. He'll be part of our Game Day Live coverage. Then, of course, he is on the Vikings Audio Network with the great Paul Allen. You guys will be at Lambeau. How do you get into Lambeau? Do you ride in with the bus where Randy Moss and the boys got mooned back in the day?
You know what? Here's what's funny is I haven't traveled with the team to Lambeau in I don't know how long. It's been 6 years, 7 years. I drove out there one year just to do it, and that was the year that the plane slid off the runway. And so I'm out in Appleton, and I'm like, where is everybody? Nobody's here. I'm not getting any calls because no one could use their phones or anything. I'm like, what's going on? So I took that as a sign, and I've driven there ever since. So I'll be driving to that game on Sunday and enjoying it, getting them, it's a great place to. It's football Americana, man. You're driving through with the tailgates and everything else. So it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Vikings Audio Network at noon, and then he will join us here back in Minnesota. He's going to make that trek on Highway 29 to join us at 10:35 for Vikings Post-Game Tonight. All right, Pete's other video on the Vikings Packers, breaking it down, that'll be right after this video. Pete, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it, and hopefully you'll be smiling on Sunday night and maybe have a few of those cheese wedges in the grill of your car driving out.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy my ride home if we come out with a W, I'll tell you that.
All right, that's Pete Bercich. Pete, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jim. See you.